I was sleeping in my Honda Civic behind a grocery store when a man in a dark suit knocked on my window. It was 6 in the morning. I thought he was a cop. I cracked the window 2 inches. He smiled, professional, calm. "Are you Sophia Chen?" I nodded. "My name is David Lee. I'm an estate attorney. You just inherited $47 million. I laughed, out loud. I thought it was a scam, some sick prank. But he held up a folder, embossed letterhead, gold seal. "Your great-uncle Harold passed 3 months ago. You're the sole beneficiary. $47 million. I hadn't eaten a hot meal in 2 weeks. My ex-husband had left me with nothing, took the house, drained the accounts, told me I'd never survive without him. And now this. But here's the twist. Before I could touch a single cent, the man who destroyed my life came back, and he wanted half. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from? And if you're ready for this story, hit that like button now. Let me back up. I met Mark when I was 24. He was charming, confident. He had big plans. We got married 6 months later. For the first year, it was good. Then the control started. He took over our finances, said he was better with money. I handed him my paychecks. He opened credit cards in my name. I didn't know until later. He cut me off from my friends. Slowly, one excuse at a time. My family? I didn't have much. My mom died when I was 19. Cancer. Her side of the family, distant relatives I'd never met, lived overseas. We never spoke. Mark knew that. He used it. "You have no one but me," he'd say. For 8 years, I believed him. Then I asked for a divorce. I was done, tired, empty. Mark didn't fight it. He agreed immediately. That should have been my first clue. His lawyer moved fast. Paperwork in a week. Mark drained our joint account the day I filed. He took the house, said it was in his name. Technically, it was. I got the car. A 12-year-old Civic and $1,700. That was it. His last words to me? "You'll never survive without me, Sophia." He smiled when he said it. 6 months later, I was living in that Civic, working food delivery, odd jobs, showering at the gym. I kept everything. Emails, bank statements, text threads. I didn't know why. I just did. And then a stranger told me I'd inherited $47 million from a man I never knew existed. David, the estate attorney, took me to his office. He explained everything. My great-uncle Harold, my mom's uncle, a tech engineer, patents, real estate in 3 states, never married, no kids. He'd tracked my mom's family tree, found me, left me everything. $47 million, in cash, property, and holdings. I had 72 hours to sign the claim documents. I sat there in disbelief. I was homeless, and now this. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Mark. "Hey, Sophia, heard some interesting news. We should talk." My stomach dropped. How did he know? David looked uncomfortable. "Estate notices are public record," he said quietly. 2 hours later, Mark walked into the office, confident, smiling, like no time had passed. "Sophia, congratulations." He sat down across from me. "This is amazing. Really, I'm happy for you." I said nothing. "But we need to talk about the legal side." He slid a paper across the table. I spoke to my attorney. Technically, we were married when Harold passed. That means community property laws apply in some cases. I'm entitled to half. I stared at him. "You're joking." "I'm not. I supported you during our marriage. I built your credit. You owe me, Sophia." He leaned back, calm, controlled. "We can do this easy or hard. You give me $20 million and I walk away, or we go to court. Your choice." 3 days later, Mark's attorney filed an emergency motion, a temporary restraining order, against the estate. The probate court froze everything. I couldn't access a single dollar, not 1 cent. David called me. Sophia, I'm sorry. His claim is weak, but he can delay this for years. Years? Probate litigation moves slow, and his lawyer is expensive, aggressive. I was still living in my car. I had $280 left. No permanent address, no phone plan, just Wi-Fi. David tried to reassure me. We'll fight this, but the estate can't pay for your attorney until the funds are released, and that won't happen until we resolve his claim. I hung up. I sat in the Civic that night, staring at the court notice on my phone. Temporary restraining order. Estate of Harold Chen. Frozen pending resolution. He'd done it again. Taken everything. I thought I'd lost. But then I remembered something. I opened my cloud drive. I had kept everything. Every email, every document, every piece of paper from our divorce. And I started looking. I found it on page 9 of our divorce decree. Clause 14. A waiver. Mark had signed a full waiver of spousal support, and any claims to future inheritance, gifts, or windfalls. His attorney wrote it. Mark wanted a clean break. He thought I had nothing coming. No family, no money, no future. So he didn't protect himself. The waiver was notarized, filed with the court, legally binding. I screenshotted it. I emailed it to David at 2 a.m. He called me 10 minutes later. Sophia, this changes everything. Will it hold? Yes. He can't unring this bell. He signed away his claim, in writing. I felt my chest unclench for the first time in days. Send it to the court? Immediately. I did. I attached the waiver to a response filing. David submitted it the next morning. I thought that would be the end. Mark would back down. His lawyer would see the waiver and withdraw. But I was wrong. He doubled down. Mark's attorney filed a new motion. Fraudulent concealment. They argued that I knew about Harold, that I hid the inheritance during our divorce, that the waiver was invalid because I committed fraud. It was a lie. I had no idea Harold existed. But how do you prove you didn't know something? David was worried. If they convince the judge you knew, the waiver is worthless. But I didn't. I believe you, but we need evidence. Then Mark went public. He posted on social media a long thread about how I was hiding family wealth, how I manipulated him, how he was the real victim. His family joined in, his brother, his mom. Mutual friends started messaging me. Is this true? Did you really hide money? I didn't respond. I stayed silent. But the pressure was crushing. David warned me. The hearing is in 2 weeks. If his fraud argument sticks, we lose. You need ironclad proof you didn't know about Harold. 2 weeks. I went back through everything. Every email I'd ever sent or received, every text, every message thread. And then I found it. Not proof that I didn't know. Proof that he did. It was an email, sent from Mark's personal account to his brother, 3 weeks before our divorce was finalized. Subject line, Re Harold. I opened it. Uncle Harold's dying. Lawyer says Sophia's the sole heir, over $40 million. Filing divorce papers now before she finds out. Once we're divorced, it's all hers and I'm clear. She has no idea. I read it 3 times. Mark knew. He knew about Harold. He knew about the inheritance. And he rushed our divorce to avoid splitting it. The waiver wasn't to protect him. It was a miscalculation. He thought he'd be long gone before I ever found out. He gambled that I'd stay broke and silent. He lost. I forwarded the email to David. He called immediately. This is fraud, Sophia, on his part. Will it hold up? It's dated. It's from his account. It mentions Harold by name. This is smoking gun evidence. I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Power, control. Mark had tried to bury me. But I had receipts. Now I just needed to know why he came back. I ran a background check. Public records, court filings, LinkedIn. Mark's business had collapsed. A venture he started 18 months ago. He'd taken on debt. Personal guarantees? It failed. Now he owed nearly $200,000. There was a judgment against him. Chenveer Venture Lab, LLC. Judgment, $198,450. His new girlfriend had left him. His car was about to be repossessed. He was drowning. The inheritance wasn't about principle. It wasn't about fairness or what he was owed. It was desperation. A Hail Mary. He thought I'd be too scared to fight. Too exhausted. Too broke. He gambled I'd settle just to make it stop. $20 million to go away. Enough to clear his debts and start over. And he thought I had no proof. He was wrong on every count. I didn't feel sorry for him. I didn't feel anger anymore either. I felt ready. I knew exactly what to do. I contacted a family law attorney. Top-rated, expensive. I explained everything. She listened. Then she smiled. I'll take this pro bono. Contingency basis. This case is too good to pass up. Her name was Rachel. She was sharp, calm, methodical. I handed her everything. The divorce decree, the waiver, the email, the timeline, the debt records, every screenshot, every receipt. She reviewed it all in one night. The next morning she filed 2 motions. 1, fraud upon the court, against Mark and his attorney. 2, motion to lift freeze and release estate. She attached every document, the waiver, the email, the timestamps, the public judgment against Mark. Rachel looked at me across her desk. Here's what happens next. We go to court. We let the evidence speak. You stay calm. You stay silent. No social media. No contact with Mark. Let the paper do the talking. I nodded. Can you do that? Yes. Good. Because in 3 days, this ends. I didn't sleep those 3 days. I didn't need to. I was ready. The courtroom was small, quiet. Probate cases don't draw crowds. Mark sat on one side with his attorney. I sat on the other with Rachel. Mark looked confident. Suit pressed, hair neat. He glanced at me once. I didn't look back. The judge entered. This is a hearing on motions regarding the estate of Harold Chen. Let's proceed. Mark's attorney stood first. He argued the fraud claim, that I concealed Harold's existence, that the waiver was signed under false pretenses, that Mark deserved half the estate. He spoke for 12 minutes. The judge listened. Then Rachel stood. She didn't speak right away. She pulled up a document on the overhead screen. The divorce decree. Page 9, clause 14. The waiver. Highlighted in yellow. Your Honor, this is a notarized, court-filed waiver of all future inheritance claims. Signed by Mr. Chen, drafted by his own attorney. Mark's lawyer started to interrupt. Rachel raised a hand. But there's more. She pulled up the email. Mark's email to his brother. Subject, Re Harold. Dated 3 weeks before the divorce finalized. Uncle Harold's dying. Lawyer says Sophia's the sole heir. Over $40 million. Filing divorce papers now before she finds out. Once we're divorced, it's all hers and I'm clear. She has no idea. The courtroom went silent. The judge looked at Mark. Mr. Chen, did you send this email? Mark hesitated. That's taken out of context. Rachel cut in. Your Honor, I also have a sworn affidavit from Michael Chen, the recipient, confirming he received this email and discussed the inheritance with his brother before the divorce. She handed it to the bailiff. The judge read it. His face hardened. He looked at Mark. This is fraud upon this court and upon your ex-wife. You knowingly concealed assets, rushed a divorce to avoid division, and are now attempting to claim what you intentionally waived. Mark's attorney tried to respond. The judge held up a hand. The injunction is dissolved. The estate is released to Ms. Chen. Furthermore, I am awarding attorney's fees and issuing sanctions against counsel for filing a frivolous fraud claim. The gavel came down. It was over. Mark stood, said nothing. He walked out without looking back. Rachel turned to me. You're free. 2 weeks later, the inheritance cleared. $47 million. Into an account with my name on it. I sat in a coffee shop and stared at the balance on my phone. It didn't feel real. I didn't buy a mansion. I didn't buy a sports car. I bought a small house. 2 bedrooms. Quiet neighborhood. I furnished it slowly. I wanted to feel every piece, every choice. For the first time in years, I had control. Then I started a foundation, the Second Chance Legal Fund, for women leaving abusive or controlling marriages. We cover legal fees, emergency housing, job training, everything I didn't have. I wanted someone else to have it. Mark's lawyer faced a bar complaint. I didn't file it. The judge did. I don't know what happened to him. I didn't ask. Mark himself? I blocked his number, all his accounts. I never spoke to him again. I didn't pursue further damages. I didn't need to. I'd already won. A year later, I ran into Mark's brother, Michael, at a coffee shop. He saw me, stopped. Sophia. I nodded. I'm sorry. For what he did. For all of it. I looked at him. I don't need an apology, Michael. I needed documentation, and I had it. He nodded, looked down. You deserved better. I know. And I walked away. I didn't need his guilt. I didn't need Mark's regret. I needed proof. And I kept it. That's the lesson. Paper trails protect you when people won't. Emails, bank statements, contracts, texts. Keep everything. You never know when you'll need it. Boundaries aren't revenge. They're survival. I didn't win because I was louder, or meaner, or richer. I won because I had receipts, and because I refused to let someone rewrite my story. So here's my question for you. What would you have done? Would you have settled to make it go away? Or would you have fought? Drop a comment below. I read them. If this story showed you the power of keeping records and standing your ground, hit that subscribe button. There are more stories like this coming. And one more thing. This is a fictionalized dramatization for educational and entertainment purposes. It is not legal or financial advice. If you're in a situation like this, talk to a licensed attorney in your area. But whatever you do, keep your receipts. They might just save your life.